Wow. You know, Prime really is right about this place. Truly a world worth saving if I've ever seen one. Megatron.
Watch and learn, Decepticons. This is how we deal with autobots. Now, I drain your spark and bestow upon you a permanent death.
Hi everyone, welcome back to The Shelves Have Eyes. I'm Phantom, and today we'll be doing an unboxing and review of Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise Trailbreaker. Looking at this, it's very clear that this is a Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Earthrise figure. We have an enormous big windowed box with a very nice new artist rendition of Trailbreaker on the side. And then on the back we have both him and his robot and his vehicle mode. We have the standard mural for the Earthrise trilogy on the other side. There's really not much to say. This is an Earthrise box. The packaging isn't anything special really. It is what it is. I did not have Trailbreaker. I missed him in stores during the initial run of Earthrise, which was weird because I found Hoist and I found Grapple and a whole host of other Earthrise figures at a Walgreens of all places. But I never actually saw Trailbreaker. So Amazon was running a lightning sale on Trailbreaker for like 22 bucks. So I didn't have the figure. I think it's very clear that we're not going to get a Studio Series 86 of Trailbreaker, considering he did not appear in the movie. So this is pretty much in scale with all of the Generations toys. So I figured, why not hit the button and get myself a Trailbreaker? Opening up the package, we have Trailbreaker, and you get one of these little decoder pieces. This was the gimmick for all of the War for Cybertron line, or just Earthrise. I'm not really sure. I don't actually know where I'm supposed to decode here. Nothing particularly stands out here. I believe I'm supposed to decode like some kind of coordinates or the name of a planet or something, but I don't know where that is here on this packaging. There's nothing on here, and nothing on the box looks like it is subject to decoding per se. So I'm not really quite sure why I have this. Maybe I'm just obtuse and not seeing it, but yeah, I don't know what this goes to, but it's inconsequential for what we're about to do. So for Trailbreaker, we have the actual Trailbreaker figure, and we have his hand-mounted gun and the shield that provides the back of his off-road trailer pickup truck. I'm not actually sure which hand he had replaced with this in the cartoon, but for right now we'll just put it in this hand. So as you can see, he's a very nice likeness. He has a little bit of, he's a little flimsy in the middle, but I think that that's just, you know, the issues of being a Transformer. He's very much like the Studio Series 86 Prowl that was released in the Assault on the Autobots Shuttle series. He's an Earthrise mold. He's good, he's sturdy, he looks right. but he's just a little light in the torso, just like Prowl. Prowl was very light for a Studio Series 86 figure, which leads a lot of people to believe that we're going to get another Prowl at some point, more in line with what Studio Series 86 is trying to do, which is produce a little bit more denser figures, a little bit more prestige figures. This is just kind of flimsy. That's not a knock against the figure. I think this is a fantastic likeness of Trailbreaker, actually. And I guess he holds this shield in his other hand. I mean, I don't know why you would want to do that. I'm not going to do that unless it folds or clips onto his back somewhere, but I don't really see that either. No, I don't see it. Oh, I do see it. There's a little tab here that you can lock his frame into. So, I don't know, I guess for transformation you would fold this down. But that's nice. It actually gives him a little bit more heft. He's not so empty in the back. So here's Trailbreaker. He looks astonishingly G1 accurate, especially since the previous Trailbreaker figure. The last time Trailbreaker got a figure, I think, was for a tie-in for the IDW comics. And that Trailbreaker looked okay, but he really wasn't G1. He was much more IDW inspired, and I think that figure is called Trailcutter. For copyright reasons, Hasbro needed to rename the character for all of the IDW comics, I believe. Or maybe it was just in that comic, his Spotlight, where he changed his name from Trailbreaker to Trailcutter. I honestly can't remember, but I'm sure Notes Phantom will make a note on screen telling you what's what. So he's got a bit of a pot belly, which is fine. That is exactly how he's supposed to be designed. I like the fact that they gave him this enormous hand, gun hand, because he did have that, his original G1 toy, and it was a mainstay of his appearances, albeit brief as they are, in the cartoon. What we have here is a really, really good likeness of the G1 character. Like, this is pretty much spot on for his character model. Much better, obviously much better than the original G1 figure, which only bared a passing resemblance to his animation model. Looking at his head, his face, this could actually be a very good repaint for a cup. It's very much a cup style head. I don't know if, I mean, it looks like Trailbreaker did in the show, but all I'm seeing when I see this head is Sergeant Cup. He's got a standard range of motion that you would expect from figures. He has these arm wings, which were part of his original design. So when he raises his arm, it's at an angle. They can't go down any further because his wheel gets in the way. So if you raise his arms, he's going to be always at an angle, but his shoulders do have a swivel. So even if you raise his arms up, his arm can still be straight, even if the flange is not. But he has his shoulder cannon, which I don't think I ever saw him use in the show. I know he used this. I know this was like right behind his head in the show and the original toy. I don't remember this gun, but for right now, let's store that in there. You can't move this directly in the middle, but it doesn't matter. He has all the range of motion you would expect. He's got a lot of negative space in his joints, which was standard with Earthrise at the time. This is an artifact of his transformation, but he can bend his foot completely backwards. He's got a hip swivel. He can get down on his knees. He's got an almost full bicep curl, but that's just really due to the type of hinge that they used. I like him. I think he looks really, really nice. It's a very attractive, full black plastic color. his actual exterior of his vehicle mode is very matte. I don't know if you can really see this. This is a very nice matte paint job, paint application. So all told, I think that the robot mode is spot on. Spot on. I like it. I think he looks really good. He looks accurate, which is really quite surprising. I don't think they would ever need to do another version of this figure, because they kind of got it right off the bat. I would say, just in terms of sheer scalability, maybe he should be a Voyager class figure, but I mean, that's really splitting hairs at this point. Let me take this gun out of his hand. So yeah, he has both hands like he does in IDW. I don't know if this retracted in the G1 cartoon. It doesn't matter. It's a small point. Yeah, he's got a nice hip swivel. His hips themselves, this is not so much a thigh joint as it is his entire leg moves. So if you do pose him with his legs in an extreme angle, they are going to clip against parts of his vehicle mode. So this beautiful chrome paint might end up getting scuffed. So just be aware of that if you do end up picking up this figure. I believe this is also the same Trailbreaker that was released in the Autobots Stand United set with blue painted windows. In any case, I think this is very attractive. I like it a lot. Let's see what it looks like transformed. So here we have Trailbreaker in his vehicle mode. I confess that I'm somewhat underwhelmed by this particular mode, only because of the front, because you can clearly see his hands there. Yes, it does roll. You can see the wheels roll, there's enough clearance here, but something about this folding job really just is a little bit not great. Just because of the lift here. Look at the lift. You can clearly, this bumper clearly does not go down low enough. And you can see the entire undercarriage there. He's got a lot of parts underneath. He's almost like a shell former, except the shell was just his actual parts, like actually made into parts of his robot mode better than most shell formers. I can't really say that I'm ecstatic about this particular mode. It looks okay. It doesn't look great. It's smooth. The matte paint is still really nice there. I've still got huge problems with this and seeing his hands on the opposite side. But in any case, this is Trailbreaker in his alt mode, which is a full-wheel drive pickup truck with an optional truck bed cap that he used for reconnaissance in, like, More Than Meets the Eye. Still don't know what this is. This is kind of a radar dish of a sort, because he did have a radar dish in the show that was coming out. I don't understand why it's now replaced with this gun, but it doesn't matter. He looks very nice. He does roll. It's very compact. I did like the way that it all folded together, even if it was slightly confusing. Mainly it was confusing because I couldn't imagine that they would have him transform this way. Like, all of my steps were correct, but something about it never looked right, and I just didn't expect all of his body to just be visible down at the bottom. It's a good figure. I like it. It scales well with the rest of Studio Series 86 and obviously the War for Cybertron line. The retro primary colors are a nice touch. I think this guy could really use some really nice repro labels. Toy Hacks labels, and I may look into that in the future. But yeah, he's pretty solid. He feels a lot heavier in this mode, and not because he's a brick. I will give them some props for their origami folding of his body parts into this chassis. I have problems with it. It's just it's too visible. it's too visible. And also, when you flip his head over, this doesn't stay. There's no clip, so he frequently just looks like the top of his car, his cab is dented. You just have to keep pushing it back. But all told, I'm really impressed with this. I am impressed with the engineering of it. I like it. It's probably one of the better looking toys from the line that I've opened and played with so far. No, I really don't have a lot of qualms about this, really. I think the colors are nice, even though they're actual they're not paint. It's the actual plastic. No, this could definitely use some nice Toy Hacks labels, just to bring out some more elements that would pop, like maybe filling in these windows, maybe covering up some of this. I don't know. I mean, they're wizards at Toy Hacks, so I don't know whether they would be able to fix this huge honking problem I have under the chair. I'm glad I got him, and especially for essentially retail price. What, 6 generations later? No. 4 generations later, really. He's attractive. He looks G1. He brings back a lot of nostalgia for me because I remember having a broken original Trailbreaker as a kid, and I loved his legs. His legs reminded me very much of GoBot legs. Die-cast metal, very chromy, very chunky. They looked like I expected a robot's legs to look. So this is a very nice iteration of it. It certainly looks better. As much of a die-hard IDW person as I am, it certainly looks a lot better than the version of Trailcutter that we got in the previous generations line. Kudos to Hasbro Takara Tomy for really doing some good work here. The back doesn't really bother me. The back is really good. It's just this. It's the undercarriage. The undercarriage is just very clear that this is a robot. But in any case, a very good, let's say, alt mode for an exceedingly good figure. I mean, this guy is really... This Trailbreaker toy is, let's just say, it's shattering my expectations after playing with Earthrise Prowl. Shall we? And so we say adieu to you, good Sir Knight, and a flight of angels sing thee to thy rest. So here we are at the end, and I am still reasonably impressed with the figure. I still really like him. Transformation is fun. I have issues with the alt mode, but I've got no issues with the robot mode. This is an excellent looking figure. Very posable. I don't like the skimping of the elbow joints that Earthrise is known for. Prowl had the exact same joints. It's just, yeah, there's a pin there, but it's relying too much on friction between two plastic pieces that will eventually wear down. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is a surprising addition to the collection. I'm happy that I got it. He has an ankle tilt, actually. I'm glad that now I have this to remember having the G1 figure, and also for the remembrance of a great character that didn't get any due in the Energon universe. So I'd say if you're in the market for a Trailbreaker, yeah, you can get third-party figures for essentially the cost of, probably less than the cost of a Voyager class figure nowadays, but with the new price points. This is really good for what it is. I like third-party figures when they make figures that either have not gotten a figure that really looks like them, or for characters that just never have gotten toys since G1. I like a lot of the stuff that a lot of third parties are doing for different combiner teams. I mean, we've got that great King Triton or Piranacon, and we've got several great options for Devastator and several great options for Predaking. But there is something about buying a figure made by Hasbro Takara Tomy that fits in perfectly with all of their figures in that line. And yeah, you could get a third-party Trailbreaker that looks exactly like he did in the character model, the Masterpiece. But this is nice because it scales with all the other War for Cybertron figures, with Studio Series 86 figures. It's nice. to have not have to think about scale. This is a really nice representation of the character. It's very posable. The transformation is fun. The alt mode is okay, but it still fits in line. And that's really all I have to say. If you're in the market for a Trailbreaker that looks like it fits in the line, scales with the rest of, the Generations Chug style figures that just about everyone has at least one of, then this is your guy. If you want G1 cartoon accuracy, go and buy a Masterpiece. But for, the $22 that I paid for this on Amazon, it's really nice. And given what has happened to this character, it would not surprise me if we got a lot more Trailbreaker merchandise. Maybe like We Will Remember or Never Forget. I mean, I think Hasbro is going to probably milk this cow until it's dry. And then probably try to get some blood from the stone. But in any case, thank you very much for joining me today with this impromptu review of a very old figure. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the vignette. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you for your continued support for this channel. I know that we're kind of an oddball because we do crafts and we do horror movies and we do video games occasionally and we do Transformers. So thank you very much for your continued support. If you enjoyed this content, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel, maybe sharing it, so that you will know when the next video drops and we can get a little bit more support for the channel. Obviously, Chrissy and I do this as a hobby, but it is an all-encompassing hobby, as you have seen this year, going into now the second year. But thank you very much for joining me. I have been Phantom. This has been The Shelves Have Eyes. We salute you, Trailbreaker. Have a good night, y'all.
To fight in disguise, Transformers. When the battle is through, only the strong will survive. Told all I want, unknown soul.